Variables, like I mentioned to you, is just like a container that would carry some values in it. But once you declare a variable, the variable continues to have the value until another value is given to that variable. If you don't give another value to that variable, the variable will continue to have that value forever. So for example, X is having 5. Every time you print X, you have 5. Y is got John. Every time you print Y, you have John. So this is how it works. So, and we talked a lot about casting in the last class. So I could remember I showed you many ways of casting things. So the example we have here is where you cast number, but I try to cast words and see if it's going to work with us. So for example, you have 3, we know automatically is an integer. So, but you want to make 3 a string. So if you want to make 3 a string, you have to write string and put the 3 into bracket. So when you do this, it casts the 3 to become a string. So you've got y is equals to integer 3. Y is integer is 3, so it doesn't make any difference. And when you make your z a float, it gives the 3 a decimal place. It gives the 3 a decimal place. So this is let's say how it's gonna work. So let's say now we have let's say 3 print 3 print 3. Allow me to remove all of this so that we don't have issues today. So I think you understood all of this we did before, right? So print 3 is we're gonna have 3. So, and if we say, excuse me, just trying to have it back. Which is the Replit has actually improved his work. So when you say print 3 and you run it, it's gonna print for you 3. So it's gonna print for you 3. So let me remove from here. I don't want any interruption today. So if you say, then if you say y is equals to string 3, so you run it, then you will not have anything. Why? Because you're not printing, but it's already stored that value in the brain of your computer. So now when you say print y, it's going to print for you 3 string. So let's say, for example, you want to test, you want to see type y. Say you want to see what type of data y is. You say print type y. All right. So it's going to tell you is a string. And if you say print, let's say, for example, let's call this one here before the print. Let's call this 3. So let's call it a value. Let's give it a value which is, let's say, q. Q is equals to 3. So print 3. So when you run it, I can use another value. I can use 5. So I would say print q. When I say print q, it's gonna print for me 5. So, and I want to print what type of data? What type of data is my Q? So print type Q. So it tells me is an integer because it's got number. So I can also cast the value. For example, I can cast, let me use Z. I can say Z is equals to bool is equals to float. I can float I can float the 5. So when you say float 5, is if you run it, you don't have anything. You only have something where you use a print statement, print Z. So if you say print Z and you run it, it's got 5.0. Can you see now? So 5.0 is synonymous to 5, but the only difference is you put what is got a decimal place. Now, if you want to now check what kind of data it is, you say print type, then Z. So if you say print, what would it tell you? It's going to tell you is a float. Can you see? So this is what casting is. So we use casting a lot for writing programs and generating values. So let's move on with with the slide. So the next slide is how to find. It talks about how to find the type of data, which I already talked about. So we don't need to bother ourselves about it. So you can get data type of a variable with a type keyword. So the type function will tell you what kind of data a data is. So it's going to tell you what kind of data a data is. So if you, let's say for example, I have a data here. It says X is 5 and Y is John. Print type X, what would it give you? If I say print type X, it's going to give me the value of X, and what is it going to be? It's going to give me X is an integer. It's going to give me X is an integer. And if I say print type Y, it's going to give me the result, and it's going to tell me Y is what? Look at tell me what Y is, the one we had before. Is it an integer? Somebody?
Y is a string.
Y would be a string. Jazakallah khair. So Y would be a string. So if I say print Y, Y would be a string and X will be an integer. But mind you, it's not going to write it fully. It's just going to say int, and it's going to say str. All right. So this is how it does. So now let's move on to the next slide. So sometimes we usually have a single or double quote. Which of it is the best? So which of these quotes is okay, brother? No problem. We just started. Shekabil, Barakallahu Fik. So which of these values, which of these is the same? Can we use a single quote, or is it having a double quote? That is quite better. So string variables can be declared either by using a single or double quotes. We can declare a string value by using a single or double quote. Example, X is equals to John. And it's the same as X is equals to John. So if you print it, if you say print X is going to give you what? John. It does not make any difference. So it does not make any difference. So either you use a double quote or use a single quote. But when it becomes a problem is if you write John, you put one quote here and you put a double quote here. So if you do this, it's going to become a big problem for you. It's going to yell, it's going to shout. What is wrong with you? So it's going to yell at you if you do that. So the point is, or if you do this two quote here, and you do this single quote here, it's going to allow you. So make sure that if you want to use a single quote, use a single quote in all of it. And if you want to use a double quote, use a double quote in all of it. All right. So this is how we do it. So let's say, I don't want to say this alone without showing you how it works. So let's go to the, let's go to Replit, and let's show you how we do it. Let's say, for example, I say print Yusuf. If I run it, it's gonna print Yusuf. The same way, if I say print Yusuf, so you see it doesn't make any difference. It's the same. So this is why we should always try our best to make sure that we practice everything we hear so that we can have more surety about it. So mind you, you must never use a single quote on one side and a double quote on the other side. We usually have this problem. I'll show you some ways you can have problems now. So another thing about variable is case sensitive. Variable is what? Is case sensitive. What if you usually hear this word in programming language to say something is case sensitive? Let's say, for example, SQL is not case sensitive. When you say something is case sensitive, the meaning is if you write a capital letter, if you write a capital letter instead of a small letter, it's not going to work. So this is what the meaning of case sensitive. So let's say, for example, if you have A is equals to 4, like you have here, and you also have A is equals to Sally. So this number A, this letter A, will never override this because it's not the same thing. So you can also have H as boy and H as girl. So this is the meaning of being case sensitive. So if you're using a different case, it's going to give it a different one, a different value. So each of those cases will have its own values, and it's going to present it in a different thing. So that is why whenever you want to print, don't say, for example, don't say X is equals to 50. And you now say print X. And I say, oh, I don't know, there's a problem. I'm tired of coding. Python is so difficult. It's giving me error. It's going to give error because you are using different case here and you're using different case here. So this is what case sensitive means. We can as well see, let's go back and also see. I always like to show you everything I talk about. So it's a very good way to teach. So if I give, let's say I have a value, I give W is equals to W is equals to 56. And W is equals to 68. So print W. So is gonna print me what? 68. If I use a comma and I put a capital W, let me try this. Capital W, uppercase. That's what I mean by capital. Then let's try to pull all of it in to bracket. Push. So let's try to say how it's gonna print it. It's going to yell, yeah. because it says integer object is not callable. So we cannot call an integer object. So how do we fix this bug? Does anyone know? It says there's a bug in our code. So how do you fix it? So let's run it now. So we use a comma to separate between two values, and we can use the simple statement. So what we just do is we'll wrap both of it together within another bracket. Let me do it again. So what I did is I said print. So what I did is I use I'm using a print. I want to use a same print statement for more than one thing. We usually do that in programming. Print. So you open a bracket, the big bracket. Inside this big bracket, write two small brackets. One is W, and use a comma to separate it. The other one is capital W. So this is another very good way to get more values on time. So it's going to print for you the value of W and the value of capital W. Is that understood? So this is how we use a print statement. And this is how to let you know that variables are very case sensitive. So variables would not care if you're using the same letters, the same variable. Once you use a different variable, it's going to what? It's going to produce you another thing. Okay, that being said, let's move on to the next one. How do you write variable names? Many people usually make mistakes writing variable names. A variable can have a short name like X and Y, or a more descriptive like age, car name, total volume. So we usually have this we usually do this kind of things. So it's not that all the time you want to use X and Y. We will do many things with variables before we move, because variable is one of the most essential part of programming language. So, and it's found in every program. Every program has got its own variable. So we would do many things with it, bismillah. So, but how do you write your variables? So there are some ways you would never write variable. If you write variable like that, they would not work. So what do you do? So rules is a variable name must start with a letter or an underscore. So the variable name cannot start with a number. No, it cannot have one something. No. A variable name can only contain alphanumerical characters. Alphanumerical means alphabet and numbers. So when you say alphanumerical in programming, you're talking about alphabet. So this is alphabet. You know what alphabets are? A to Z. And numerical numbers from 1 to 0. I mean, from 9 to 0. So, and underscores. So they usually use underscores. You can say car underscore name. You can say Jane underscore set. So variable names are case sensitive. Age. They're very different. The different variables. So variable name cannot be any of the Python keywords. What are Python keywords? What are Python keywords? Python keywords are the words in which we actually use in Python. The keywords, for example, len. Len is a keyword. You cannot say len is equals to no. It's going to be thrown an error. You say length. Because len is a keyword in Python. What do we use len for? I will show you now. So I will show you what we use those things for and why we should not use a keyword. Now, let's say, for example, you have a keyword. Let's say, I think we had a gene, right? We had gene, I can't find it. So let's say, for example, let's remove this full name. So full name is John Smith. So you want to know the length of letters in John Smith. You say print len full name. So it's a print len full name. So when you run it, what does it print for you? Did it print anything? I think it printed 10.
10, yes. I think it
Yeah.
printed 10.
So let me copy this and put it down. So to make it easy for us to see. So if you run it now, it's gonna print 10. What does that 10 mean? It's gonna count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Mind you, you have 2 spaces in between this. Is 1. So it's gonna count all of it together. So it's gonna count 1, 2. Now let me run it again. I just want you to see. So it's gonna count the letters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The space is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I will close the space now and I'll run it again. You will see that it's gonna show us what? A different number. Can you see now? So it shows us number. So we're not in length now actually, but I just want you to know how we can avoid using a keyword for what, for example, if I say len is equals to this, it's gonna have a problem. You can see now it's having a problem. Like, what is wrong? You're using len. Can you see now? It's throwing an error. So it's saying what? It's saying string object is not callable. So because how would you use len and you see using okay. Let me try to use len. Can you see? Even though the name is len, and now it's still giving me some problems. So it's just not, it's gonna, so try your best to avoid using the keywords in Python to name your strings. It's a very good way to save yourself from trouble. So we can use, you can use name, name. Some people usually use this way. They use share capital and they use capital name. So it's also very good. Some people would not use this. Some people use an underscore. Let's say surname, all of this.
Mr. Pluggers, English. What's that?
Huh? Someone said something?
Sorry, that was not meant for the class. I'm sorry.
Okay, class. So you could print the length. So it's gonna be a problem. Actually, this is summary. You're gonna have a lot of problems when you try to use a Python keyword. So avoid using Python keywords for your name of a variable. So these are examples of legal names we use in variable. We have my var, my var, my var, my var, my var, my var too. So, but illegal names are to my var because you started with a 2. You should never start with a number. Secondly, you're using a minus, so you don't do that. You use an underscore instead. If you're using a minus, it's gonna think you're subtracting var from mine, so it's gonna throw an error. And also, you should never leave space. Don't leave space between your keywords, between your variable names. If you leave a space between your variable names, it's not going to understand that it's not going to be joined together. So you need to join them together with something, or you just, for example, you can decide to close out this space by pulling them together. You can use my var. It's okay. So instead of using my minus var, which is wrong, so you can also use different ways. So remember, variable name are case sensitive. That's a summary. So any name you want to use must have to be the same name you label the variable with. If you label the variable with boy, like this, don't say print boy. If you say boy is Ahmed, right? If you say print boy, it's gonna print boy. You wanna check that? I mean, it's gonna print boy for you if you say print boy. So, and once you've already given a variable value, don't put quotation anymore. So if you put quotation, it's gonna print for you this boy. It's not gonna print for you something else. So this is exactly what we want you to know. So let's move on to the next one. Sometimes we usually have a multi-word variable names. We have variable names that it's got many words in it. That's what we mean by multi-word variable names. So we have the variable names with more than one word can be difficult to read. There are several techniques you can use to make them more readable. For example, camel case. Camel case, each word except the first start with a capital letter. So camel case, the meaning is each word except the first will start with a capital letter. For example, my is a small letter. This variable is a new word, name is another word. So this is called camel case. Camel case variable labeling or camel case variable names. Another one is a Pascal case. In the Pascal case, you start all of it with a capital letter, my variable name. So the other one, which is a snake case, is for you to put a underscore. So you put an underscore, my underscore, variable underscore name. So it's called snake case. So which of these do you prefer most? Tell me 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Reply to me in your meeting chat, everybody. Which of the three do you like most? Everyone reply. Okay, mashallah. Even, yeah, the 3 is good, mashallah. 3. Okay, another one. I want everybody to respond. That's the way to let me know that you're listening. All right. I'm waiting for okay. Abdul says it prefer 2. Okay, good. So, okay, خلاص, no problem. Barakallahu fikum jamia. So, whatever you want, whatever you wish, you think it's the best, you should use it. So you can use any of it, and inshallah, you're still very fine. So we don't have much time anymore today. So inshallah, we would go to Python variable to assign multiple values in the next class. So we have an example, X, Y, Z. They will have orange, banana, cherry. So you want to print X, you want to print Y, you want to print Z, it's going to print for you orange, banana, and cherry. So I would, inshallah, now we're getting deep into the programming. So idinillah, we're going to continue from there. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message in my what do you call it, on the WhatsApp. So please, the class is going to end very soon. So send me a message so that we can from there I can answer your questions. Barakallahu fikum jamia. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله
وعليكم
وبركاته.
السلام ورحمة الله
وعليكم
وبركاته.
السلام
جزاكم الله
ورحمة
خيرا.
الله وبركاته.